to the cloud. There we go.
There we go.
Okay.
I had to okay it, and I okayed it.
You've given permission. Okay.
I have given permission. Yeah.
Good deal. Pamela Rose is here with me. We're live now. Or I shouldn't say live. We are recording, however.
We are recording.
So,
big difference.
Yeah, big difference. Peter, give me a little intro. I know, I feel like all this time I've known you, we've had various, we've been in contact over various things over the last, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
I feel outside of what you do as a coach and as in the world of casting, I feel myself a little uncertain as to what it is really you do in totality. I know certain threads of what you do, although like the whole picture of what you do in the business is still like a little bit nebulous to me. So
yeah. Well, it's probably nebulous because there are so many different things that I do.
Because it actually is nebulous.
Because it actually is nebulous. So, okay, so let's start with the coaching. Let's start there. So that's one part. That is a part that's a part of my career that I'm incredibly passionate about.
Kind of your bread and butter, maybe.
No, actually, my voiceovers and my casting is my bread and butter.
Okay.
But my coaching is my feeds my soul. It is my passion. It is what I feel very strongly that I was put on this earth to do. Not that, the world doesn't need another, voiceover actress, but, I feel that my true gifts are with coaching. One of the things I've said numerous times is that I feel like I'm a good actress. I'm obviously good. I would not be doing what I'm doing unless I was good, but I'm a great coach. Like I can't say to the camera, I am a great actress and mean it. I just I'm good. And maybe I have some moments that are pretty, maybe stand out.
Yeah.
But as a coach, I feel like I'll go up against anything, anybody. I just feel like that is my purpose. That is my reason on this earth. So many years ago, so like over 20 years ago, I formed a company called Acting Business Bootcamp, which formed some of the kind of like apprenticeship training I did with a coach named Arlene Rosenberg. And this was in the mid-90s when nobody knew what a life coach was. And I took my knowledge of what I was learning with her and combined it with already at a very young age, I had a tremendous amount of knowledge of the business. In fact, in high school, I actually won an award for writing a book on how to become a working actor. I mean, it's kind of like so crazy that happened. And I was interning at a big casting agency in my senior year of high school. By the time I was 19, I had a full voiceover career. I had a recurring role on a soap opera. I was doing commercials. I was also part-time running the commercial department at a very big management company. So all of that kind of led into like 1996, 97, when I really started to bring Acting Business Bootcamp out there to the world. And I first started teaching privately. And then about 10 years ago, I then started doing this thing called a weekend intensive. And then on February 28th of 2020, I had my last class right before COVID, and then brought that entire weekend intensive where I work with actors on what I call the 3 pillars of the entertainment industry, which is acting training, the business steps, and core work. And I brought that into the working actor roadmap. And so now I work with all of my students virtually. So all of my clients are now virtual. So that is one part of my life. Then there's the other business that had to be put aside about 10 years ago when I started doing more casting work, which I'll get to in a second, which is chiropractor for the mind, which is my real coaching work. It's the core work, the work on the self that I do with actors. And that is going to launch next year, 2022. It's going to launch then. But also with the casting, what I do is I cast background voices and specific voices for film and television with a company that I run with my husband called the Looping Division. And we cast 10 to as many as 17 shows a year. And right now we're working right here behind me. We're doing everything remotely because they still, most of the studios do not feel safe bringing actors into a room. I work as the casting director, but I also work as an actress. I'm one of the actors in the group. So that's what I do. And basically, to describe quickly what Loop Group is let's say there's a scene with one of the shows we're working on right now is Gaslit, which is Sean Penn and Julia Roberts playing John and Martha Mitchell from Watergate. It's a Sam Esmail project. It's phenomenal, freaking phenomenal. The detail is insane. But of course, it takes place in 1972. So all of the way, I'm not talking when I am recording like I talk now. I wouldn't address a man the same way. I wouldn't address a younger woman the same way. Everything is completely different.
Totally different vernacular and totally different. Yeah.
Exactly. So what I have done is I do a tremendous amount of research. And for example, if someone is giving a speech, well, we're the people in the crowd listening and reacting to the speech. Or let's say there's a baseball game on from 1972. Well, then we're going to be hiring the actors to do the announcers from that time period. So it's very, very detailed and extremely technical voiceover work.
Yeah, and it involves a certain amount of some mimicry, some real
oh yes like I've been doing a lot of stuff for Julia Roberts, a lot of breaths or voice matching. We also brought in an actress who I think is even like one of the things I will do is if I think there's another actress who can do it better than me, I'm hiring her. Like I don't have any ego about it. I'm like, the job is to serve the show, which I always think is what it is for actors. And what I teach my actors is the job of the actor is to serve the playwright. The job of the actor is to serve the project. So my ego stays out of it. And then finally, the last piece of what I do is a lot of managers and agents and casting directors contact me and say, hey, I'm looking for this. Or if you have any good clients who fit this description, will you push them my way? So that's one of the other things that I do. I act quite a bit as a consultant for agents and managers because they know I have such a huge reach in the business that way. So I'm also helping my acting business bootcamp actors get representation whenever the choice or the opportunity arises. So if you've ever wondered why you can't figure out what I've done, Trevor, this is
because you do everything.
This is why, because I'm very busy,
Yes. Pulling on a lot of threads.
Yeah, pulling on a lot of threads. So
it's interesting what you say about finding this point where your ego is completely out of the way. Do you feel like that was something that was an easy leap for you to take? I feel like that's the kind of thing that could take some time to really find your footing at that point where you really can just surrender to the benefit of the project and
I think that was a two-part thing because I live and work with my husband, and anybody who knows us, a friend of ours who was over for Thanksgiving said we're two peas in a pod. We're like joined at the hip all the time. But one of the things I realized when we formed the Looping Division is I needed to make a choice. And the choice was who's going to be the president of this company and who's going to be the vice president. And I had my coaching, and he had his acting career, but this was very quickly took over because he basically ended up, I don't want to say sacrificing his acting career. He became incredibly successful in voiceovers, and basically voiceovers became his career. So I decided, I said, you know what? You're the president. I'm the vice president. And once we did that, and I started to realize, like, I know my place as the number two in this. I mean, and I'm not saying that I don't do, well, I'd say he does do more of the work, but what I would say is that what that allowed me to do was to also realize that I was serving our company better. And then I started to realize, well, if I'm serving my company better, I also then, of course, want to serve the projects better. So if I'm going to serve the projects, how can I best serve this project? Like, for example, we're working on the remake of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Okay. So, and
I know a guy who just booked a little like recurring co-star on there.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
It's terrific. And Morgan Cooper, who's the showrunner, oh my God, we worked with him and he was so amazing. Well, there are going to be episodes where either Jason or myself isn't right. So we take ourselves out of it. And again, the object is that ultimately we serve the show. If both of us are right for it, we're both going to be in it. But there's also those opportunities, when you go, oh, wow, look, it's an entire scene where, it's all men. Well, then I don't work on that.
Is it also, I would imagine it's also a relationship where y'all probably to some degree have the trust to be able to tell each other when it's like, no, we should step aside on this one, or
yeah,
no, this ain't your turn.
constantly are. He'll say to me, or he'll direct me, or he'll check with me. He's like, how was that? And we constantly are checking with each other, which, I mean, I think that can be tough because we're also married, but you really have to not take it personally. I know when Jason is directing me, he's doing it for the benefit of the work. He knows what my strengths are. He knows where I'm weaker. And when I feel like, if I might say to him, like, try this or try that, and he's going to trust that, hey, I'm giving a good note there, so we have a lot of, I think all good relationships are based in trust, but we really, really work very well together and in trusting, like, hey, this is good, or hey, let's, one of us might audition for something that they're looking for and go, you know what, leave that out,
Yeah.
because again, the entire point of our company and the entire point, I think, of actors is to serve the project.
And a lack of preciousness about it, just letting it fly.
I think that one of the things, and it's funny because I was talking to an actor earlier and I just said to him, I said, you're incredibly smart, and that also can get in your way. And there's really, sometimes it's like, no, you just got to do it. That's going to be the most effective thing for your career, is you just have to do it. That's,
not let your head get too much in your own way. Next up, I mean, sort of dovetailing off of that, what kinds of stuff are you up to right now? Anything you are at liberty to tell us about, or anything you're prepping for, or that you just wrapped? I'm sure there are a lot of things.
We're working on a CBS show called Good Sam. It's the new medical drama on CBS. We just finished Showtime's Yellowjackets. Christina Ricci is so brilliant in it, and Juliette Lewis, and oh my God, I think I'm saying her name right, Melanie Linsky, called Yellowjackets. Ella Purnell is in it. A Gaslit star show. Oh my God. Sean Penn is so amazing in that. I literally watched like the first 3 minutes of the first episode and then went, oh my God, that's Sean Penn. Like, I was so, like, the makeup, it's so good. It's amazing. And Julia Roberts is glowing. She's just fabulous.
Wow.
I'm trying to think. I know there's something else that I'm forgetting. Bel-Air. We're working on like 6 television shows right now. And then I know we have some movies in the pipeline as well. Oh, I know what we're doing. The third season of For All Mankind on Apple. That's another one we're doing.
Oh, no, for all mankind. I've heard of
Yeah,
all
yeah.
pretty much all the other titles. I don't know for all
Yeah. Oh,
mankind.
that's an Apple show. It's about the arms race, not the arms race, the space race.
Hmm.
And it's a kind of an alternate reality of Joel Kinnaman is in it. He's so
Oh
great. And
yeah.
there's this actor, I'd never seen him before. His name is Michael Dorman, I think is his name. I believe he's from New Zealand, and he just blew me away. I was just like so impressed with him.
Wow.
But it's interesting because when you do what I do, you get to see things before everything gets done. So you see the imperfectness of
Hmm.
stuff, and you get to really see the, the project evolve. And, you're just like one tiny little part of it, but yet you're the part that kind of like brings the background to life so that it makes the foreground oh so much more believable. So,
Yeah, it makes
I
the
mean,
foreground
so
pop.
I enjoy that, and I enjoy the work very much, and I enjoy the process and the casting, and getting to know actors, and I've interviewed a lot of them on my podcast because I really, again, learn from the casting point of view, like how to be an actor that's going to get called back as opposed to an actor that I will only call unless I'm really fucking desperate,
Hmm.
if that makes sense, you
Yeah.
know. And
How to be the actor they're excited to call in.
yeah, I talk about an acting business boot camp all the time. I talk about that, the language of the agents and the casting directors. And it's so clear when an actor isn't speaking that language to a casting director. And what the actor doesn't know is that is an immediate no for the casting director, because it's like, you're not even speaking my language. It's like you're conducting this interview in Spanish and I'm speaking English. It's like or vice versa. You're like, how do I interview this person? They don't speak my language. It's kind of that. If that makes sense.
Without giving your training away for free, can you give us a 60-second blurb on
Well, yeah, I
what would
mean,
encapsulate that?
yeah, what actors, when actors work with me, I only work with actors really in one way now. And the reason why I have now set this up and I'm now so like strict with it is because it's like, okay, fine. If you want to pay me $10,000 for a $500 course, that's fine, but to work with me privately. But A, I really don't have the time. And B, honestly, you're going to get so much more just by taking the course. And the course is the Working Actor Roadmap. And what I do is it's 10 to 12 hours of video of me talking pretty much just like this and explaining and showing you exactly what you need to do in terms of your resume, in terms of your pictures, in terms of your commercial and your print work, in terms of your theatrical work, and in terms of your website, and in terms of your demo reel, and what to do if you don't. And with the resume, what we do is after you've watched all the instruction, you put your resume into the template that I have, or I shouldn't say template, that's not the right word, the sample that I have, stick it in PDF format, and you and I email coach back and forth until we get it dynamite perfect. Same thing for your pictures. I recommend which photographer to go to. I have deals with certain photographers. If I'm not happy, they reshoot for free. I mean, I have so many areas of the industry where I specifically say, go here, do this. Because what I'm noticing is every other day I'm getting another text. Peter, I just booked Law and Order. Peter, I just booked, FBI. Peter, I just booked, oh my God, The Blacklist. Peter, I just booked The Equalizer. Peter, I just booked Bull. Peter, I just booked, Grey's Anatomy, and I'm not talking about extra work. I'm talking about speaking roles on these shows and, co-stars and guest stars. And so my whole thing is that I want to go over your pictures with you. I want to go to your resumes. I want to go over all of your communication with agents and casting directors and managers. And then we work in the weekly class that I have. as well. So you're working with me for a couple of months in the weekly class, you're working with me in email, and I, over the course of 2 to 3 months, I'm really getting to know you. And then you can stay in the weekly class. If you sign up with this whole thing by the end of the year, it's $37 a month, and you continue
Oh,
your
wow.
relationship with me. And it's like, obvious, this is my labor of love. I love to help actors. My enthusiasm for doing it is huge. I challenge the actor to want the career for you as much as I want it for you. So that's really what I do. And then of course it gets more advanced. Like I have a client who had been working with this one manager, just kind of freelancing with them, and they want to sign him. And I'm like freaking thrilled because it's a great manager. And it's not a guy who you would automatically go, oh, that's an easy sign. He got it because his acting work was good. And that's another thing that I'm so like honed in on with actors is I want to take you and where you are in your training, and I want to make you the best fucking actor you can be. And that is, I find that so exciting. That gets my juices flowing. And I talk with the teachers, and like, let's say they say, Trevor's doing great, but he really needs like some movement classes or some voice and speech classes. Well, then I go to you and I say, okay, I'm getting that you're doing great this way, but this is how we can make it better. This is how we can improve. And so really what you're learning is how to cultivate a career for a long period of time, not just become a star. Because, for example, I've been a member of SAG-AFTRA since 1988. So it's what, 33 years, and I'm almost, I've have 25 years, no, it's more than that, 26, 27 years of, of pension. And, I've been working. Yeah, I know what works. And so I just want to spread it. I want to share it. I want to put it out there to as many people as I possibly can. Because it makes me mad is how ripped off actors get. People who say they're going to be a star, or people who are, saying, oh, my client booked a show and it's a freaking featured role, it's an extra work role. Well, that's, okay, anybody can book extra work. I mean, not anybody, but what we want to do is we want to get you on a speaking role. We want to get you in a job where you're going to be making residuals, or you're going to be making healthcare, where you're going to be making a pension. We want to get you so you are a working actor. That's the thing.
Beautiful.
You can tell I hate this,
Well, it's funny. The next question I was going to ask was going to be kind of following up on exactly that. Like, to what do you find ever that it's the case that you do feel like you actually want it more than the actors themselves want it? And how do you, what is your, again, without like giving away all of your training on this,
no.
How do you approach sort of helping bring an actor's own desire up to the level that,
well,
I can see this for you and my heart wants this for you, and how can I get your,
well, sometimes actors just don't want it bad enough. I mean, and there's nothing I can do about that. That is where the core work kicks in. So one of the things I talk about, and I've been talking actually quite a bit about this, and concentrating about this in the weekly classes, is what you want, what you think about what you want, and the action steps that you take in regards to what you want. So it's actually not that easy to decide what you want, because while you're asking yourself, what do you want? So if you want to be an actor, a working actor, my question is, well, why do you want to be an actor? Why do you want to be a working actor? And you need to be rigorously honest with yourself in answering that particular question. And then you need to ask yourself, well, how bad do you want it? Are you willing to, and I borrow some of my life coaching 12-step training here, are you willing to go to any length to get what you want? Which means doing something every day that makes you, as I put in my podcast, makes you want to vomit a little bit in your mouth. It makes you super uncomfortable every day, because that's how you're going to grow. That's how you're going to become successful. And then you have to align with that with your thinking. So if you're saying, I want to be a working actor, and then you're like, well, I need to get my, I'm just going to make something stupid up. I need to get my head, not stupid, but, minor. I need to get my headshots taken. And you're like, oh, I don't want to do that. Or, oh, I hate getting my headshots taken. Well, the problem already is that what you want and what you're thinking about what you want are not related. You're not supporting yourself. You're beating yourself down. So then what I'm working at is, okay, let's really investigate what it is you want, be real specific about it. Then we have to get all that thinking aligned with it so that all of your thoughts support you wanting to be a working actor. And that is a lot of work. But that's where my training, that's where, I can't get into the whole thing. It would take us an hour. And then we need to look at your action steps. Because, and I talk about this, like, there's a podcast that I do with the Acting Business Bootcamp podcast where I talk about the fear of success. If I'm saying I'm going to be the next Meryl Streep, you know what, Trevor, I'm going to be the next Meryl Streep. Any day now, I'm going to be the next Meryl Streep. Well, if you notice what I'm doing is I'm keep putting it over there. But the thing is that what you're doing is that you are negating responsibility. You're not taking responsibility. And so what we need to do is say, well, if I want to become a world-renowned, well-known actress, well, then I need to train at a super high level. And that means every day I am doing stuff for my voice, for my actor body, for my acting intellect. I need to be working on scenes. I need to be memorizing. I need to be spending hours on that. Because that is the actions that align with the thought, with the want of, I want to be a working actor. Now, it doesn't have to be that extreme, but I'm talking if you're saying, like, I want to be the next Meryl Streep. And it doesn't, it's almost like magic when I can get actors to align those three things: what they want, how they're thinking about what they want, and what they're doing to support the want. Because the thinking has to support the want and the doing has to support the want. And if you do that, it's actually very hard not to succeed. But it's very simple. Yeah, it's very simple, but it's not easy. And it requires tremendous amounts of tenacity and bravery and courage to do that. And I talk about that phrase, find a way, find a way. And there are times when I'm trying to launch my chiropractor for the mind, and I am dead tired. And I say to myself, you can do 15 more minutes. I have to push just a little bit beyond my ability. But then there are also nights when I'll tell you I am dead tired, and you know what? I got nothing left. It's time to go to bed. Go to bed, wake up early, hit it tomorrow. And I think that because whatever you put before taking care of yourself, you're going to lose. And
it's not going to be.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
Together. Yeah.
Like, I exercise a lot. If I say, okay, you know what, tomorrow I'm going to do 10 miles. Well, great. I'll bust out my knees and then I can't work out for 6 months. That's not. The point is just to push it just a little bit beyond, because that's where you build the strength. That's where you build the determination, the tenacity, the consistency. It's about consistency. And there really is no failure, really, what in pursuing an acting career. What there is lessons that you can learn from and grow from. That makes sense. And so again, that's what I really am trying to mold with my actors so much.
It's a famous MMA coach's book is called Win or Lose. Or sorry, no. Win or Learn. Win or Learn.
Yeah.
Win or lose.
Win or
Flying right
lose.
in the
Oh,
face
yeah,
of
but you know
we
what? That's
just said.
hilarious. But that's like that
Which,
stuff that it's like that subconscious mind gets you, win
mhm.
or learn. Yeah, that's great. It's true. It's true.
I'm going to take us back a little bit now.
Yeah, sure.
Back to your origins as a creative person. What was the first thing that comes to mind, or maybe you have a specific story in mind? What was the first thing that kind of lit your fuse artistically, whether it was a specific movie or a play or a
Yeah,
TV show that made you
easy.
say, this is what I want to do?
My parents, I grew up in northern Westchester County, and my parents took me to see Dreamgirls in New
Hmm.
York City. I can't remember. I must have been 8, something like that. And it starred, oh my God, I can't believe I can't remember her name, the original, who played Effie. And she sang that song at the end of Act 1. And at that moment, I was like, this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. I want to do what she is. But what I don't think I realized at the time was that what I wanted to do was inspire. But I was a kid. I was like a
And so
child.
you equated
So
that with
I equated
the
with
acting.
acting. But really what I wanted to do, where my real passion is, what lights me up, is I want to inspire.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I didn't realize that until much later in my life, that when I finally realized I don't really want to be an actor. And then I learned what the core of what I really wanted to do was inspire. And I think, but it's kind of funny. Even in this moment, it's like, oh, well, of course I thought that. I was a kid. Of course I thought, oh, be an actor. I didn't think, oh, I'm going to be a life coach,
Mm-hmm.
thinking that, way back then when truly no one knew what a life coach was.
Well, it's funny. It sounds like, and I also wanted to follow up and pull on that thread a little bit earlier. So you published a book in high school about tell me again. Sorry.
So I went to private preparatory school in Connecticut, and they did, I think it was 6 weeks. Feels like it was longer than that. It was an basically you could go off in your senior year to the area of whatever, if you wanted to be an engineer, work in an engineering firm. If you wanted to, do something, well, I still wanted to be an actor. And the funny thing is that private preparatory school was churning out doctors and lawyers and basically not actors.
Not thespians.
No, they were not that fond of me. And I said, well, this is what I want to do, and they knew that about me. And, there was only 66 kids or 63 kids in my graduating class. So it was kind of known that I was kind of the actor, I was the actress kind of a thing. And so I said I wanted to intern at either a talent agent or a casting office. And so every day I went to the train and I took the train into New York City, and I basically learned, the process of, agents and casting directors and stuff, and how that all happened. It was the agency was called Richmond Musenden Casting. And I'm still friends with some of the agents, Doug Keston being one of the first agents. He's now over at KMR, but he was at, I think it was Jacobson Wilder Keston, for those of you who have been in the business for a long time. And, and agents over at a huge agency at the time called J. Michael Bloom, which nobody has probably heard of at this point because they've long been defunct. And, I became friends with these agents. And I put a book together of how to basically pursuing a career in the dramatic arts, pursuing a career as an actor. And at the end, bizarrely, I was one of the 3 that they chose to win it. So no, there was no publishing of books. I've not published a book, much to my mother's chagrin.
But you're already I mean, the roadmap was already coming into focus.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's how I spent my COVID time. Is I had taped one of the weekend intensives earlier, or like a few months before the pandemic happened. And then I literally spent the pandemic watching the footage and creating the entire course from it, but obviously adapting it to the self-tape world that we all live in. Because
Like
there's
a series
more
of modules, or
exactly.
yeah.
That's where I came up with the 6 modules. And also what I did was created the weekly coaching group for people who were taking it, and for people who had taken the weekend intensive, the pre-COVID course, and for people who had taken the working actor roadmap. And now they're all together. So this incredible community has just blossomed and bloomed. And it's terrific. It's fun. It's
And were you,
affordable and
before the pandemic, were you already planning on moving away from doing the weekend intensive, or the pandemic sort of forced that decision?
Pandemic forced it.
I see.
But yes, I had, obviously, because I taped it and I was like, yeah, I really should make this kind of like more online. That would be better. It would be better if I did that. So that, like, if you weren't available on a weekend to give me your whole Saturday and your whole Sunday, well, now you have the entire course. You can do it at 3 o'clock in the morning for all I care. Shoot me an email with your resume. Shoot me an email with your pictures. Shoot me an email with your correspondence with the agents. Have me check it out. Hey, that's fantastic. Now anybody, anywhere. And so it helps more people in a much faster, more efficient way. But I think that's one of the things that we've all learned from the pandemic. So yeah.
Yeah,
so
how to find more efficiency.
Yeah.
Going back to that moment you described of having that, what sounds like kind of a revelation of realizing that no, it's not acting, actually, it's this other avenue through which I can inspire. What was that a tough journey of sort of having to give up the actor hat to some degree? Not this, obviously you're still doing creative work as an actor, but
I've had in my life several what I call like undeniable moments of truth. Like undeniable moments of truth. The most, I guess, impactful one was I walked into, on October 7th, 1997, I walked into Don Case Casting in New York City. I turned to my left. I saw this figure. I absolutely got this sensation. I went, oh my God, that's him. That's the man I'm going to marry. And that's the man I ended up marrying. I mean, it was just like, I absolutely knew without a doubt that I was going to marry this guy.
In your bones.
In my bones. And, and then we started talking, and then he asked me for my number. And then, we've been together for 24 years. I mean, and we've never broken up. We've been like, we're like 2 peas in a pod. So there's that. The other one, another very impactful one, was I had just finished doing a lead over at the Humana Festival, doing a lead in one of their popular plays called Aloha Say the Pretty Girls by Naomi Otsuka. It was directed by John Jory. And
I saw a little production of that a few years ago here in the city.
Oh my gosh. Okay. And I had then immediately booked a recurring role on a Dick Wolf show. And I always joke that it's the only Dick Wolf show, Law and Order, Dick Wolf, the only Dick Wolf show to not go beyond 1 season. It was a show called Deadline, starring Oliver Platt, who, ironically enough, I had played his girlfriend when I was still in drama school in London. I played his girlfriend in this cult movie called Funny Bones. So he and I had already worked together. Bebe Newirth, Hope Davis, and Lily Taylor, and Tom Conti, British actor. And I was playing Bebe Newirth's assistant. And it was a reoccurring co-star. If you look on the IMDb, I'm credited as news assistant, and then I'm credited as my own name. because what they were planning on doing was making my role larger. And they asked me my permission if they could call my character my actual name, that was going to be kind of come a thing, because Peter is kind of a unique female name, name for a woman. And so that show got canceled. And then like 6 months later, I get a call from my agent. It was like, I don't know, it's like a Tuesday night, 6 o'clock. My agent calls me and says, Peter, so exciting. Dick Wolf just requested you for this huge guest star on Law and Order. It's, I don't remember how many scenes. I always say 6, but that seems like an awful lot. 6 scenes. I'm going to fax you over the sides. You're going in for producers tomorrow at 9:30. And my first reaction was, oh God. And it was in that moment I knew I was done. That ever since I was 8 years old, I had wanted to be an actress. I did everything. I got into one of the hardest drama schools in the world to get into, especially as an American. I had everything. I had sacrificed so much for this. And in that one moment, I knew I was done. And I went the next day, didn't do that great of an audition. And then it was just a slow slide the next 2 years. And it was a hard pill to swallow for my ego to swallow, because what I had started to learn was that my acting career was the career of was my ego's career, and my coaching career was my soul's career, like the career of my soul. And I no longer wanted to be slave to my ego's career. I wanted to do what I really wanted to do. And that's been, and I said, listen, I'm still going to do voiceovers, and I'm still going to do on-camera commercials, which I did. But now it's been, oh my God, 15 years since I've done anything on camera. And it's only voice, it's just voice. So that's kind of, yeah, I mean, that was, but yeah, it was a really hard pill to swallow, because I had given up so much to just go, wow, you really don't want it that bad. But I will also say that I've never regretted it, which is kind of interesting, because I think because the coaching, I love the coaching so much. So I guess it's like there's no,
didn't seem like it.
Yeah, it doesn't, it's like, yeah. And if you said to me, hey, Peter, I've got an audition for you, I'd be like, oh, fuck me. What? How the heck? No. I'm going to go eat dinner. I got other stuff going on. I mean, but I've been very fortunate. I've still, done very, very well voiceover wise in the industry, and have made a great, career as an actress, so I, it's just not the career I had initially thought of. And that's great. And then I have that, and then I have the coaching. So again, it goes back to why you don't exactly know what the hell I do, because I do it. Yeah.
It makes me think of, I think it was Larry Moss's story about becoming, centering into coaching of, that, he had a, as acting careers go, it was a happening career. He was working a few shows on Broadway, did a little film and TV or whatever. And then, oh gosh, who was it? Maybe it was, oh God, why can't I think of his name? Who wrote Robert Lewis.
Oh yeah, Robert
Method
Lewis.
or Madness. Yes. I think he was like, he might've been like apprenticing under him or something, and gave Larry Moss a group of students and said, why don't you sort of try this out, see what it feels like. And he said the first day he sat down in class to teach those students, and he sat down in the chair, and he felt his back in the chair, and he went, I'm home.
Yeah.
He was like, I thought I was an actor, and I'm not an actor. I'm a decent actor. I can make it work, but now I'm home.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
a certain surrender to that, I think, is what it
Yeah.
sounded like, of a surrender. It's interesting that even with something like that, that's such an undeniable moment of truth, that it could still be as you said, a 2-year process of actually fully, releasing it
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
grip of the ego, or from, whatever you want to call
Well,
that.
I think I also think though, there was a part of me that wanted to make really sure, because there was like the child in me who had the teenager in me who had given up so much to do it, like the classes on the weekends and the long nights of studying and reading, and and not going to dances and things like that, because I wanted to practice instead of be social. And at that, I mean, like, there's a part of me that like feels bad for her, but yet, her meaning the teenager in me, but
Yeah.
there's also a part of me that goes, wow, I gave her a really good life. Like, it turned out all right. Don't feel too bad for her,
And
That's what I
and
would say.
also, and also the degree to which everything that all the time and energy that she invested in all of that stuff is, the well of everything that you can continue to draw on, even if it's even just in the
Oh,
form of
yeah.
having empathy for what other actors are out there doing. And it's like
Tremendous.
and that's kind of an invaluable thing, of the degree to which you really get it, that somebody who
Yeah.
didn't put in that work doesn't truly sort of get it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like my relationship to basketball is really similar. Like, I was sort of that guy with basketball in so many ways, and I think in a lot of ways my sort of my ego need to be validated relationship to basketball ended up kind of being a thing that tanked a lot of my relationship with basketball. But it was the same way. I felt like I had sacrificed so much of social life, of XYZ and XYZ and XYZ.
Yeah.
And then when the time come when I had to say, you know what, I'm like, I don't love this. I really am not having a lot of fun out here. It was like, it felt like yeah, like it was hard to feel like I was, and I think it's occurring to me now as I'm saying this stuff to you, that it's not necessarily throwing it all away, but in the moment it feels like, God, I'm throwing away everything that
Wow.
I threw into all this huge
Yeah.
investment of time and energy. And yeah, anyways, that's
But
powerful nonetheless.
you don't, because it all makes you to the person that you are,
Mm-hmm.
and when I say to somebody, you really need to take an acting class, I understand what that actually means. And I understand the financial commitment, and I understand the time commitment, and I understand the intellectual and the bandwidth commitment. So, yeah.
Mm.
And when somebody says, they were pinned for a job and then they didn't get it, God, I understand that, I mean, sometimes those roles that you don't get, some hit you harder than others. And I do think, like, I think that is one of the things that separates me in a lot of ways just in coaching actors, is that thing of that I really understand it from the actor point of view, and I really understand it from the casting point of view. Like, and I understand what it's like to have a really shitty day and have an audition. But I also know from the casting director's point of view is, I don't care. I have a job to do. I got to get it done. If you don't show me your best, I'm moving on to number 2, and it's a tough business. That's why it's such a tough business, because it doesn't give you a lot of leeway to hear you have to wear your heart on your sleeve so much. And yet it doesn't give you a lot of wiggle room for, I don't want to say, I don't really get actually what I'm trying to say, but a lot is asked of you. A lot is really asked of you. And I think a lot of casting directors understand that, but also I think what actors don't understand is how much pressure we are having put on us, that we can have compassion, but literally only up to a certain point, because we still have to get the job done, because our our jobs are at stake, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is the biggest thing that actors don't understand. And that's why I talk. That's why the Working Actor Roadmap course is all about getting you to really understand the business from the agent and the casting director's point of view. So you as an actor are empowered with everything to know how to behave and how to go in and what to say, and most of all, what not to say when you go into an audition or doing a self-tape or anything like that.
To really be able to wrap your head around the whole picture of what the whole reality of what this
the reality. Yeah. Because I mean, I always say to actors, I'm like, if you're looking for a coach who's going to make you famous in a year, like I'm not your girl. I'm not it. But if you're looking for someone who's really going to teach you how to build a career for long, sustainable time, let's talk. That's what I'm about. Because the reality is the other one doesn't exist. You're selling a pipe dream. You're ripping actors off. And if you're in the business, if you're making money in the business, you know that. And that is something that if you don't have that experience of making money in the industry, of working in casting, working as an actor, I don't think you would know that. Not really know it, if that makes sense. So that's what I infuse everything into understanding. What does it take to have a sustainable artist career? Yeah.
Well, let's this has been Peter, this has been fantastic.
Yay,
no, really,
I'm happy.
Let's and I know I want to keep this on the brief side for your sake as much as mine, and because I can
we can come back a different time. We can do part
we certainly could.
Yeah.
I'll finish this up with this. And some of these are things that I think you've sort of already touched on, obliquely in various ways, but what would you say your biggest inspiration is? You are in the business of inspiring people. What do you feel like is the thing that inspires you most as an actor, as a teacher, as a coach?
To keep our faces towards change and behave like a free spirit in the presence of fate is strength undefeatable. Helen Keller.
I was going to say, God, where I know I've heard that.
Yeah, I've mentioned it to you. To keep our faces towards change. So to keep doing those things that make you want to vomit in your mouth just a little bit in the presence of all the past shit you've done, and behave like a free spirit and be you as much as you can be you. You do that with full trust, you will achieve a strength that cannot be broken. That quote changed my life. And it's that if you ever it's everything, because that's what it takes to grow. That's what it takes to change. That's what it takes to succeed, Yeah,
without sugarcoating it, in the face of everything that could be felt to be oppressive and depressing, to still have towards the light and towards change and towards evolution.
Yeah.
This has been great.
Yay!
We should.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
When I think of some more useful things to ask you, we might just have to line up a part two.
Line up a part two.
Yeah.
And if anyone's interested in contacting me, or you're interested in my work, just shoot me an email over at peter@actingbusinessbootcamp.com. peter@actingbusinessbootcamp.com. Or you can just go to
one word totally spelled out, actingbusinessbootcamp.com.
Yeah. Or you can even just go to the website, actingbusinessbootcamp.com. So it's my baby.
There it is.
Thank you so much.
Peter, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Until next time.
Until next time.
And myself, I'm going to be in touch with you pretty soon here.
Oh, good.
Anyways, yeah. It's been too long. Anyways,
It's been too long.
yeah. Peter,
Well,
thank you
this
so
is great.
much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And have a great, great holiday. And if anything else comes up, let me know. And when this is going to drop, let me know.
Will do. You're in California still, yes?
Yes, I'm going to be in New York for 1 week. And my entire life is in complete flux because I'm either redoing the apartment I'm in or buying a house. And hopefully in the next 72 hours, I'll know the answer to that question.
All right. Well, fingers crossed on that.
Whatever the universe wants it to be.
Yeah,
Anyway, okay.
absolutely.
I'll
Cool.
talk to you later. Take
Yes,
care.
you will. You too, Peter. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Bye.